Hey everyone. Hello.
Hi, Mary.
Hey Haley.
Yes, so I didn't see that you were on already.
I
All right,
just went right on.
all right. Well, let's get this going. Welcome to another Food for Thought Friday. Today we're going to be talking about this digestions and signs and symptoms. Mary.
A little bit better, so I'm sorry. Oh, okay, I'm getting delirious. I put the heat up too high in my house. Um, so we're gonna, like what Haley just said, we're gonna talk about signs and symptoms and a little introduction about who we are if you've never met us or don't know us personally, or this is your first time tuning in. We are both functional nutritional therapists. We both got our certifications through the Nutritional Therapy Association. A little bit about me. I am a formerly exhausted mom of 5 who now helps other moms beat fatigue and get back to the lives that they love. I'm not perfect. I still do, have my days, but I've learned a lot of things along the way, and I love to help others to feel better and to increase their quality of life. So my goal is to empower my community to take charge of your health and to feel better. And we all deserve to be healthy and to live life to our fullest. So I would love to come along anyone's path. Haley and I are very helpful, and we love teaching, we love learning, we love coming alongside others, and this is part of what we do. Also, in my past life, I used to be a health education teacher for Yonkers Public School for 5 years. So I taught middle school. That was a great learning experience and a fun opportunity. That was where my whole health journey, well, part of it began. And then I completed my FNTP in 2019 through the NTA. And now I'm the proud owner of I Deserve Health, and you can find me at ideservehealth.com. So Haley?
Great introduction there, Mary. So my name is Haley Loy Roby, and I'm an FNTP as well. And my focus is working with clients who do not have a gallbladder or they want to save their gallbladder. And the reason is because I lost my gallbladder, or my gallbladder was removed from me without knowledge of knowing the benefits of having your gallbladder. So my philosophy, or my why, is I really want to encourage and support individuals on their journey to a healthier self by educating them and providing them with the tools they can use to be successful, and empower them to continue their journey without me. I want to work myself out of a job. I always say that. I want to empower those to take charge of their own health by using the tools that I provide for them. So that's just a little short blip of who I am. You can find me at Nourish the Root Cause if you have any questions.
Awesome. So let's get started.
Do you want to do this one, or do you want me to go into this?
Oh, you can start. You can go.
All right. So as an FNTP, we approach health by addressing the foundations of nutritional therapy. And we start with really nutrient dense, properly prepared whole foods diet. Then there's digestion, which we'll be talking about today, blood sugar regulation, healthy fats, minerals, and hydration. All these together set a foundation for health. And this is how this is our approach to helping people. So today we'll be chatting about the impact digestion has on the body.
And before we begin, we just want to make sure that we all understand this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure disease. So consult your healthcare professional about any new dietary choices or supplements that you may be taking that might interact with medication.
This is one of my favorite quotes. All disease begins in the gut, Hippocrates. But you know what? So does all health. And something really good to keep in mind when we're on our health journey is that we need to put a little bit more focus on our gut.
Amen. So to start off, understanding digestion deeply, it's really important to know where it begins, where it ends, we all know.
Right.
But
And
it's a north to south process. So it's something that it has an order. Our bodies are basically systems within systems, and digestion is one part of that big system. So it begins very top in the brain. Actually, did you want to ask the question that you have
yeah,
here?
I want to say, did you know that there is more organs involved in digestion other than the stomach? I think
Yeah.
a lot of us, when we think of digestion, we only think of the stomach and what that means, right? So as Mary's going to start, she's going to kind of talk about the organs that are involved in digestion that's beyond the stomach.
Yeah, and we'll take turns going back and forth with it. So when we work with clients, we want to make sure that the order of digestion is working properly. So when we do, if you saw our other talk about what are FNTPs, what do we do, how can we help you, we showed you the form that we use and the graph that we have. And basically it starts from the top part of digestion all the way to the symptoms and what else it affects. So we look at that when we're working with our clients. And digestion, we know it begins in the brain with our thoughts, with the sights that we see, the smell of food. I mean, just think about like Pavlov's experiment with the dog and the bell. You know, our mind reacts to the things we smell, the things that we see, and that prepares our body to start getting ready for digestion. So when you're drooling at the thought of bacon, like myself, your mouth is producing spit and saliva to help digest the fats and the carbohydrates in those foods that you put into your body. So it's preparing your body to get ready to digest the food properly. And then as we put food into our mouth, besides chewing, like I said, saliva begins to break down the food in your mouth. And then Haley, do you want to talk about stomach acid?
Yeah, I'll go into the stomach. So, you know, the popular digestive organ is the stomach, but something that we overlook or has a bad rap is HCl, which is I should not have done this one because I can't say
Hydrochloric
acid, and pepsin further break down the food in the stomach. And we're going to talk about a little further down about the roles of stomach acid and the importance of it. But just know that that's the key to proper digestion is proper pH balance and just proper stomach acid in general. And then my favorite, because it's my specialty, is liver and gallbladder, which produces and releases bile to break down fats. This is really, really important. And not just because I focus on gallbladder health. And then I'm going to do pancreas and I'll let you finish it out. Okay.
Okay.
So the pancreas then releases some digestive enzymes that finishes breaking down the food, the carbohydrates, the protein. There's different enzymes that the pancreas releases that supports digestion as well. And we look for signs of maybe some depletions of those or when they're not working properly in the assessments that we do. And I was always surprised to find the impact that a lack of pancreas enzymes had on a person. So
yeah, that's always fun to play around with enzymes to help digestion.
yeah.
And definitely what's fun is like we'll go into hydrochloric acid and all the different pH of our body. So like your stomach is super acidic and then the pancreas squirts out some fluid that helps it make it less acidic so it doesn't burn your small intestines, which is pretty awesome how it all works if it's working properly.
Yep.
And then after food leaves your stomach and it passes the pancreas where it becomes more basic, absorption occurs in your small intestines and also the immune system, which is all surrounding your small intestines, kind of checks for little invaders that might have gotten past your stomach. So it's always watching. Then after it passes your small intestine, it goes into your large intestine. And that's the final stage of digestion. And there are trillions of microbes. So we have more microbes in our body and on our body than we have actual human cells. So that's another pretty cool thing. And future talks will talk about the microbiome and how awesome that is and why we need to take care of it and feed it properly so that it can help us.
Yeah, and before we move on to the next slide, I'd just like to mention that if a northern part of digestion is out of whack, it impacts the southern organs. So
Domino effect, yeah.
yeah, so it's a domino effect. So if your brain's not triggering the saliva glands, it can impact the large intestines. So again, that's a topic for another time. So,
But we want to talk about everything.
all right. So Mary, I know you had a story you would like to share with this. Would you like to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, so real quick, just some signs of gut imbalance. These are things, signs and symptoms that we look for when we are working with clients and kind of go through all the different questionnaire and questions. All the questionnaires and questions that we ask all lead back to this pretty much. And for me, my personal quick story, I have a lot of different ones, but I'll share one. Maybe like 2 years ago, I was like dealing with deep depression, obviously for personal reasons, but also there was some imbalance going on. I don't think I was feeding myself properly. I was not getting enough nutrients that I needed, and my mental health was being affected by that. So for example, I started doing collagen peptides, which I'm sure many people are now familiar with because it's over every shelf in Costco and every store. But it's a powder you add to your coffee. You can add it to your oatmeal, but it's basically protein. It's pretty much what bone stock is, but it's like dried up and made into a powder. There's no flavor. So I started adding that to my coffee, and within a couple of weeks, I started noticing my mood and emotions started improving right away. Also, I had some tennis elbow, which started improving a little bit. I speak about that when we talked about restarting sugar detoxing. That fully left when I cut out sugar, but I did notice an improvement with the increase of protein in my diet for my mental and emotional health. So that was huge. That allowed me to start my nutritional health, because when you're feeling like crap, it's hard to want to change any part of your diet. If you're just depressed, you're like, oh, whatever, I'll just have this other coffee. And you just kind of get in the vicious cycle. I'm eating junk, I feel bad. And then it's hard to get out of that when you're not feeling emotionally great, or you just don't care because emotionally you're not all there. So
Yeah. No, I love that you spoke about the mental health aspect of it, because I think that's something that's overlooked often and doesn't correlate with most people. They don't see the correlation between gut health and mental health. A lot of anxiety, it can reside from your gut health. And
yeah.
Again, I think this is a topic for another time.
It's a great topic though.
It is a great topic, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because to get people thinking that maybe when they're in a sour mood, or if they're anxious, or they feel off, that consider it being the food that you're eating or not eating, right?
Which, when the food and mood journal that we do with our clients, that helps us see the food you eat plus your mood plus your stomach and gas, and it kind of gives us a big picture to see if there's any correlation between things.
Yeah.
Also, some other typical signs and symptoms of gut imbalance. A lot of us dealing with bloating, burping gas, whether you're burping right after you eat or 1 or 2 hours after, that tells us things about which part of your digestive system might be affected. The gas, again, if you're having gas right away or within hours, that tells us where it's going on. Stomach pain, acid reflux, if you're feeling nauseous after eating, your bowel movements.
Yeah, I would just like to pick on nausea a little bit.
Okay.
I had nausea for years in the mornings. I wasn't pregnant, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was because my gallbladder was inflamed. And unfortunately, once it was removed, it went away. I mean, I'm glad the nausea went away, but I wasn't aware of that. That's connected to like a stagnant gallbladder. Just want to throw that out there.
That's a really important one, because I've seen a lot of people mentioning, why am I nauseous in the morning? Or, I mean, and also pregnancy too. Like, pregnancy can change your stomach acid levels because all your hormones are changing, and that does affect your stomach acid, which affects your digestion of certain foods, which can cause you to feel nauseous. So these are all they're all connected to each other, and they all affect each other. And it's pretty cool.
It is.
Once you learn it and you kind of can get a hang of it and feel better, it's pretty empowering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, acne, rashes, eczema, dermatitis, all those things can be related to possible food sensitivities. I know there's some estheticians that know some parts of your face represent parts of your body and your organ systems that might be affected. I haven't delved into that yet, but that's on my like wish list to learn more about.
Yeah, no, but yeah, so these are signs or symptoms to be aware of. And if you're experiencing any of these, like, again, think about what you ate. That's why it's good to log what you eat, right? Like, even if you're not working with somebody, write down what you are eating. It holds yourself accountable. And because sometimes we forget that we eat something, and then we look back, we're like, oh, okay, I already had one of those, or whatever it may be. But it's also nice to look back to see if it's related to how you're feeling.
Yeah, actually something else I wanted to add, another one of my issues. I remember I was like, oh, I'm gonna try raw milk. And I mean, I love raw milk. If your body doesn't react poorly to it, that's great. If you get it from a good source. But for me, when I started drinking raw milk, I was drinking by the cup. I started getting a really bad rash along here. My scalp was just inflamed and itchy, which is also part of my autoimmune issue. And I learned milk triggers that in me. So, and it didn't happen like within 1 hour, it was within like a couple of days that I was reacting to it. So yeah, all those fun things.
So, surprise, digestion actually starts in the brain, which we've kind of already discussed, but the sight and smell of food triggers the saliva glands to start producing enzymes to break down the food before the food even enters our mouth. I think that's an amazing, amazing thing. So, and Mary hit on this, have you ever thought about food and your mouth starts watering? And that's because your brain's like, all right, they're going to feed me, so I might as well start here. Right? Like, so
Let's
all right.
get ready.
So let's move on to our first suggestion of step 1.
So do you eat at the dinner table, or are you eating in front of your TV? Are you eating in a rush in your car, driving 80 miles an hour down the highway to get where you have to go? Are you trying to eat in between meetings while checking your emails and you're distracted? We want to make sure that we eat in a restful state. So do you want to speak more on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of this at time to time. I don't often eat in the car, but sometimes, you know what, time's not always on my side. So, and again, I pay attention to what I eat and how it makes my body feel. And I notice a difference. If I'm not seated and taking my time with what I'm eating, then I usually I start to burp, or it doesn't feel like it's digesting properly. So I do feel it. Again, I'm going to challenge you all to pay attention to how your body's reacting to food, and how your body reacts to food when you're eating on the run versus sitting at the table eating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and growing up, I grew up in two different households. So, one household, we would all sit when we can for dinner. All distractions were off, and we sat for meals. Whereas in my other household, we're sitting on the couch eating dinner while we're watching TV, and everyone's kind of doing their own thing. There's a big difference when you take the time to sit around the table, even if it's not for every meal, to make that an important part of your family, whether if you have a family or not. If you are, by yourself at home, make it a place where it's a special place where you get to calm down, relax, take some breaths before you start, get your body in a place where you can actually receive and start digestion. Because when you are in a heightened state where you're always rushing around, your body's focused on survival. It's not focusing on digestion, and your body will not be able to digest the food properly. And that domino effect will start affecting you over time. It might not be right away, but it will happen slowly over time, and it will affect your whole health.
Absolutely. All right, this is my favorite. So what if heartburn is from not enough stomach acid? I talk about this to my clients constantly. So I know this may be hard to believe that heartburn could be from not enough stomach acid, but it is really true. If our stomach acid is too low, then food ferments, it putrefies, it can go rancid, which then causes kind of like a gaseous reaction that pushes that stomach acid up, that we do have the stomach acid we do have in our stomach up into the esophagus, and which is too strong for the esophagus. It's not meant to have acid in it, and this is where we get the burn. So I feel like stomach acid gets a bad rap, partly because of the name, but partly because of the misguided information that we've had that if you have stomach acid, it's because you're producing too much stomach acid or it's too strong. And that's not really the case. So I guess we can talk about this the next one, but why would someone have low stomach acid?
Yeah, I just want to add something quickly. I feel like we came from a Tums generation.
Yeah.
You know, if they feel any kind of heartburn, quickly right away, you have too much stomach acid, you got to put out that fire. But what you're really doing, Tums, it actually creates an alkaline basic environment, which is opposite of what your body needs to digest food.
Yep. And I think people get this confused. That's a good point, because we want our blood to be alkaline, but not our stomach acid.
Yeah, that is the most acidic part of our body, and it's made to hold acid in there.
Yeah, so it's two different things. You know, an alkaline, you know, blood being alkaline is it's two different things. So absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely consult your doctor. Most people have not enough stomach acid. Some very small groups have too much, but that's not common.
Yeah, it's a very, very small group of people. All right, so how do we support stomach acid, Mary?
So there are some things that we can do to make sure that our stomach acid stays in the right pH. So some of you remember high school pH, you remember the test strips and the different colors that would come out. So our stomach pH should be between 1.5 and 3.5. So if you think about it, and I forgot to look up the pH of lemon juice, but the pH of battery acid is, what is it again?
Zero. It's zero.
Okay, zero. So if battery acid, which will like melt off someone's skin. I hate thinking about that because I just saw something on the news. I don't want to. Anyway, stomach pH is a little bit more than what battery acid is. And our bodies, you know, our stomach is made so that it can hold it in. There's mucuses along the lining of our stomach so that it can properly hold the stomach acid in this little balloon type of pouch. And some things we can help do to support it is, number one, there are things called digestive bitters. It's basically like a spray or a drop you could put under your tongue, and it's made with different bitter herbs. So think of like parsley. What are some other ones that are normally in there?
I like arugula. So
arugula. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So like some vegetables that you can use, or herbs are like arugula, parsley. There's some others I can't think off the top of my head, but you can also buy digestive bitters also.
Yeah. I know you do the digestive bitters, and I'm more apt to eat the digestive bitters, but that's good. It's something for everyone.
Yeah, and what they do is your tongue has receptors on there for bitter foods, and when you activate those bitter receptors on your tongue, that's what activates the stomach acid to start cramping up and to not cramping up, ramping up to create more stomach acid to get ready to digest the foods that you're about to put into your mouth. Also, apple cider vinegar or even some lemon juice diluted is great to have right before you have a meal. Also, one important fact, and I remember my grandmother always telling me, don't drink your juice with your meal, no, nothing, whatever. And I'll be like, why? Like I had my little attitude, like, what does she know? Come to find out, you know, how many years later, 30 something years later, I'm taking this in class, and actually, she was right. When you drink water, like a glass of water like this with your meal, guess what's happening to the stomach acid? If you remember in high school science or middle school, you're going to dilute the stomach acid. And when it's diluted, guess what it can't do? Digest and break down the things that it needs to. So
you me there for a second. I'm like, I know.
Guess what, Haley? So like for me, what I do as soon as I wake up, I like pretty much fill up this glass with some lemon juice that I buy like pre-squeezed, or you can squeeze fresh or whatever you want to do. And I drink that right when I wake up. And then about a half an hour later, then that's when I eat. So to have it on an empty stomach is 30 minutes before a meal or about an hour and a half to 2 hours after a meal. If you're thirsty, don't deprive yourself. If your mouth is like parched and you can't chew your food, sip on water, but don't like chug a whole glass while you're eating.
Drinking multiple glasses of a beverage, preferably water. You shouldn't be drinking multiple glasses during your meal. So if you're asking for a second cup of water, then maybe you want to hold back a little bit.
But I mean, if it's spicy, have it with some something fatty to kind of help the spice if you're
So,
like.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So how I take it now, I do take supplements for my stomach acid because it's just not where it needs to be. But I I take a shot of apple cider vinegar and olive oil with a little bit of salt, and that's what I'll take before meals. If I don't think I need to take my betaine,
Mhm.
and you should see the looks I get from visitors when I do that.
Do you throw a little salt over your shoulder? It's like a little.
Yep, that's right. Absolutely. So actually, before we go to this one, I'm going to share a client story that I have permission to share with you that kind of goes along with stomach acid, if you don't mind. Is that okay,
Mhm.
Mary?
Mhm.
All right. So I'd like to share a client story with you. She is 40-year-old mother of 3 who works full time and doesn't have enough time in her day to do all the things she wants to. She was living with chronic conditions like diarrhea, acid reflux, acne, excessive burping, and bloating, which left her feeling drained and hopeless, and in her words and not mine, embarrassed. And let's face it, none of this is all that fun to talk about, but facts are facts. The health of your body is largely affected by the health of your gut. And yes, she was experiencing some of these chronic symptoms because she didn't have a gallbladder, which was removed after her second child. However, in addition to eating a low-fat diet throughout the years, consuming processed foods along with bad oils, she had low stomach acid, which also impacted her gallbladder and led to its removal. It's a vicious circle. Oh, and did I mention she was popping antacids like Tic Tacs?
Mm.
Yeah, right. So the first step was to gradually wean her off those antacids. And she started incorporating apple cider vinegar with warm water before meals, which helped, but she really did need some extra support. So she eventually started supplementing with betaine, which is a supplement you should only use with guidance from a practitioner, such as Mary or myself. And after introducing mindful eating, sitting down at the table to eat, incorporating a self-care routine, including stomach acid support, and because she doesn't have a gallbladder, taking ox bile for proper fat digestion at every meal, she no longer experiences those chronic conditions like diarrhea, acid reflux, acne, excess burping, and bloating, which left her, again, feeling drained and hopeless. In addition to relieving those chronic conditions and supporting her body without gallbladder, she started to lose weight. She had energy to play with her kids, and she was thinking more clearly. Now, who doesn't want all of that? It was beautiful to see her transform her health. She walked in feeling hopeless and left empowered simply by addressing her digestive issues. So just by adding, just increasing her stomach acid really impacted. And of course, she made other changes,
And
but
cutting out Tums.
right? It made a big difference for her.
Mhm.
She didn't realize how bad she felt. She also, this isn't mentioned in there, but she had like a chronic stuffy nose that she was unaware about.
Mm.
She started taking when she started taking the betaine, she's like, I could smell. And I didn't even realize I couldn't smell before. Like
Wow.
she could smell, but just not fully. She's
Yeah.
like, I can breathe through my nose now where I couldn't before. And I didn't even notice it because it had been going on for so long.
Mhm.
So that's another indication that you may need stomach acid support is if you have a stuffy nose. So I challenge you. I'm all about challenges today. I apologize. I'm not the first
Food
one on.
challenge.
I want to challenge everyone. So I challenge you that if you have a stuffy nose, take a shot of apple cider vinegar. You can curse my name if you like. That's fine.
Diluted? Should you dilute it or
And
straight?
yes, I apologize. Yes, dilute it with a little water, or you can use lemon juice and water and see if it clears up your sinuses. It may or may not work. However, it's just something I like to play around with to see if it's beneficial. So anyways, that's a little bit about a client that saw benefits from increasing her stomach acid.
Mm-hmm. There's actually a really nice, I've seen it like on Whole Foods or Amazon, the Bragg's apple cider vinegar. They have one mixed with lemon juice and cayenne pepper and apple cider vinegar all together. And I used to drink that like every morning. I just felt like it just kind of cleansed me. Some people are sensitive though to apple cider vinegar. So just,
I was going to say, if you know you have a histamine intolerance, this is something that advise that it may make it worse. Like it may make your stuffy nose worse. So, and yes, it's not right for everyone, but
the majority, it can help. but
Yeah,
some people might.
yeah, it's just to be mindful of.
Mhm,
Because we're all bio individual, everyone's a little bit different. So
mhm.
it may not be best fit for you.
All right. Thank you for sharing that testimony. That's awesome. All right, so roles of stomach acid. We kind of spoke about this, but we're going to go a tiny bit deeper, and then we're pretty much at the end. So what does stomach acid do? And why is it important to have proper stomach acid? So number one, it activates something called pepsin, and it's the main enzyme that's in your stomach. Number two, it breaks down protein. So this is where proteins are broken down into the little amino acids that are eventually absorbed into your body and used for your immune system. They're used to create the happy emotions in your brain, your neurotransmitters. They're your building blocks. They're super important. So your body needs to be able to break down protein. If you don't have stomach acid or not enough, or I mean, everyone does, but if you don't have enough and strong enough, you're going to have problems absorbing protein, and that's a whole another domino effect of issues. Number three, it kills bacteria and viruses. This is so important. There's so many contaminants in our food. Think about how many miles our food has to travel, all the crap literally that it picks up along the way, people touching it at the supermarket, dropping it on the floor. I mean, who knows what's sometimes on our food. So your stomach and chewing are your first line of defense of preventing stomach bugs, other viruses, parasites that enter our body. Yes, we have parasites naturally in our body, but sometimes if your stomach acid, your first line of defense is not working well, they will bypass that and wreak havoc in your gut. So it's really important to support stomach acid because that is your immune system. That is pretty much your barrier. That's like, if you're a castle, that's like who you want at the door to make sure anyone terrible is coming in. And then lastly, it stimulates the hormone cascade, leading to a release of bile and digestive enzymes. So the hormones that tell your other organs, hey guys, let's get the bile running. Okay, guys, we're gonna get the pancreatic enzymes running. We're about to come out and we need to be digested. There's a whole cascading effect. So one hormone tells the other to start, and it's kind of like just a whole loop system. What did you want to add?
No, you can.
And then also proper stomach acid also prevents, so I don't know if you saw on the other slide, there was a little green goblin looking thing. I forgot to mention him. We call those the yeasties and the beasties as part of our restart program. And yes, our body has, yeast in it. We have a lot of things in there. We don't want to kill off all the bacteria because there's good and there's bad. And the good guys keep the bad guys in check. But if your stomach acid, again, is out of whack, the bad guys will start taking over and wreak havoc. So think about like H. pylori that causes ulcers in the stomach. All these things that we kind of want to get under control. If your stomach acid is good, they will be in check. Also, one thing I wanted to bring up, I know there's a lot of NTPs that focus on helping people get off of PPIs, proton pump inhibitors. A lot of doctors have put people on there because of, stomach acid issues. Do your research before you get on one of those, because there's a lot of studies that are showing they're related to cancers. And again, it's all the domino effect. If you start affecting the northeast part of your digestive system, it will affect every other part of your body. So if you are not preventing these bacteria and viruses that are coming into your body and they start taking over, think about everything else that can follow. Also, when your stomach acid is low, it's going to pull nutrients from the rest of your body, like from your bones, from everywhere else. So that's something else. Did you want to add anything?
No, yeah, I agree with that. That's a really good point because, it just brings me back to when I work with clients. If they don't want to make a lot of change, but they're willing to make one change, or if they're open to only one thing, it's increasing their stomach acid. That's one thing that I'm very strong about because it impacts all the organs in the digestive system. So aside from the brain and the mouth.
Yeah. And one main thing that is kind of overlapping all of this, you need to drink enough water. Filtered water, good filtered water, making sure you're drinking
away from dinner.
Away from large meals. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. We've all heard this saying, right? You are what you eat, but actually you are what you absorb. If you're not producing enough stomach acid to break down the food you are eating, it can't properly be absorbed. So even if you're eating a properly prepared, nutrient-dense whole food diet and your stomach acid is not adequate, you're not actually getting the full benefit of those foods. That's sad. Like, let's be honest, it's sad. If you're just like, and it's to a point, like if your diet's on point, if you're eating good food, if you're eating organic, even if you're not eating organic, but you're eating like real food and that's not packaged, but you're not seeing your health go in the direction that you want to, you know what? It could actually be that you're not absorbing the food that you're eating.
Mhm.
So it could be lack of stomach acid. Again, I beat this a lot. So if you can't tell, I'm very like supportive of stomach acid. So is there anything you would like to add to that?
Yeah, I tell my kids all the time, your stomach does not have teeth. So
Oh, yeah.
properly chewing the food I think stomach acid is extremely important, but if you're not chewing your food properly, stomach acid can only do so much. So if you don't even have enough stomach acid and you're not even chewing your food, your gut is going to be like a balloon expanding because it's all putrefying, creating gas, and just all that gas is making it expand and expand and expand because it's having trouble to break it down.
Yep.
And your body needs help. So you need to, you're given teeth for a reason to chew that food, to mush, then swallow it. I tell my kids all the time because they're just like rushing sometimes, they swallow their rice and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of comes into play with the next step, I feel, as well. So
oh yeah, oops,
yeah.
I jumped ahead.
No, so but what does it mean to eat intentionally, right? Like I know I'm kind of stepping in, it's Mary's turn, but I'm also
you're
passionate
fine.
about this too. I refer to this as mindful eating, which is a practice of looking at your food before you eat it, smell it, really be present before you start to eat, right? I won't go on a tangent on that one, but I feel that we need to be connected to our food because some people still have gardens, some people still, produce things on their own land, so they're engaging with it. But we don't. Most people don't anymore, and for that reason, we really need to be connected, and just taking the time to appreciate what's in front of us. And I also like to point out to my clients, if you're not salivating before you start to eat, you shouldn't be eating. So you should always make sure that once you start to eat, you are chewing your food, like Mary had said. And go ahead and talk about chewing your food a little bit more, Mary. Like, what is it supposed to look like? Like how or look or feel like? I don't know. I don't want to look at people's chewed up food. So
like, let me see your mouth. Open up your mouth. It's like, no. Just not stuffing your mouth. Like, look at your fork. Your whole fork or spoon doesn't have to be full. You just take small bites and make sure they're chewed well. I was just kind of laughing in my head because I could picture my kids saying, well, I'm not salivating at this meal, so I'm not going to eat it, mother.
Use our words against us.
I know. But yeah, just, like, whether you are spiritual or not, just saying, thank you, universe, thank you, God, whatever religion you are. Most religions all practice some sort of sitting down, some kind of prayer or thankfulness before you eat and start eating your food. Like, I know sometimes we say prayer and then our kids are like ready with the fork with their eyes shut. And we're like, no, like, take a deep breath. We're say our thanks, give thanks, and then start eating your food. Cause that kind of helps that connection, like you were saying, with your food. I remember in college, I didn't know pickles came from cucumbers. So that just shows my connection.
Yeah.
I did see some gardens, but I never had a garden until, I had my own home with land. And so just kind of like learning where your food comes from and just being thankful that it made it to your table, and teach your kids to be thankful for what they have also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. I agree.
Thank you.
All right, Mary, do you want to recap it?
Sure. So just a little recap. All disease begins in the gut, and so does our health, and we need to take care of that. So just as you go about your day, just shopping supermarket, just think about where disease begins, and we want to make sure we are supporting our body in producing what it needs to produce to digest the food and break it down and to protect us from all the nasty little invaders trying to get in. And the 3 steps. You want to do 3 steps?
Oh yeah. So I'm just going to read them off because time is never on our side here. So when you're eating a meal, are you taking the time to eat it, right? So are we in parasympathetic mode? Are we sitting down to eat it, or are we on the run? So be mindful of that. Are we supporting our stomach acid with either bitters, with apple cider vinegar and water, or lemon and water? And are we eating intentionally? Are we chewing our food? Are we thankful for our food? Are we grateful? Are we just not running down the supermarket aisle, grabbing something to eat very quickly? So, and I would like to challenge you guys again. Look at me, just challenging y'all. This one, I would love to hear from you. I would either in the chat or in the comments, if you watch this later, is fine. Which step are you going to start incorporating today to optimize your digestion? And if you choose whatever step it is or whatever tip that we gave you, I challenge you to try it for 7 days, because we could do anything for 7 days. And I want you to pay attention to how you feel. All right. And then respond again.
Yeah, I'm actually following the chat in Facebook.
Okay.
But actually, Miss Rodriguez asks, where can we get a filter from for water?
Good question. Mary, you have the answer to that one. I know you. I know you do. You did your research on I can't say that word, but water filters.
Yeah, so I used to have a Berkey, and then when I went to go and replace the filter, I ended up switching. Oh my, I forgot the one I switched to. It was not Pure. It was another one. But it fits in the Berkey system, and I'll post it once I remember the name. But it depends on where you live. So there's a website, I believe it's EWG, the water. There's a couple of other ones. You put in your zip code, or you can just type in your town and type in like water report. We might have to do another call on this one because this is important. No, but yeah, you have to know what's in your water. So if you have, fluoride, chlorine, and there's another form of chlorine that they're adding to water now to kill viruses and stuff. You need certain filters that filter out those contaminants. Also, if your water, like in Missouri, is coming from the Missouri River, which means we're getting all of the pesticides from the farms, plus everyone's waste coming down the river, which means we're getting all the medications that people urinate out of their body, and they're pulling it back in and filtering that water for all of us to drink and shower. And this is really gross now I'm thinking about it. But you want to make sure that you're not drinking other people's medications. So getting filters that also filter that out. Some people get great water from like upstate New York. There's some really great reservoirs that are coming down, but it really depends where you live, where the water is coming from, to figure out what kind of filter you need. So if you would like help doing that, I can work one-on-one with you, or maybe I'll, this is an idea for another course we could do. But
absolutely, because I love to talk about hydration. That another thing besides stomach acid.
Yes,
I'm always telling them, it doesn't matter if you broke your leg, you're probably dehydrated.
If you broke
like they're like,
drink more water.
Drink more water. And the first thing is you probably need to drink a little bit more water, then come back. So
and my kids are like, Mommy, I'm hungry. I'm like, go drink water. I'm tired, go drink water. I'm hot, drink water. It's like that's my first response, because usually sometimes kids think they're hungry and they're really dehydrated, like.
So with that, I think that we probably will do a topic on hydration.
Yeah,
so.
But one thing to say, any filter is better than no filter. So whatever filter you have, use it, change it often. And as you have time to research to pay for a better filter, then do that. But any filter is better than nothing.
Yep, absolutely, I agree. All right, so who wants to restore their gut health and prevent yeasty beastie from setting up camp?
Who wants to kill them?
All right, we can go to the next slide. So join us as we lead a 21-day gut restore classes that start in August.
Woohoo!
All right, so we're gonna do two classes. So both of us will be co-leading restart classes starting in August. But we want to, it fits this category here. So we're offering an evening class on Thursdays and a morning class on Fridays. We really want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to attend. All right, no excuses. All right. anything you want to add on that one, Mr.
Yeah,
Yeast?
we'll give you our about yeasty beastie.
Yeah, so yeah, we're going to give more information as it gets closer.
Yeah.
And you always can follow up with us either on here, DM us, one or both of us is fine. And again, you always can contact us through our websites.
Yeah. Yeah, and our next topic, which will be June 10th, same time, same place, will be bad fat versus good fat. We're going to be dispelling the myths one fat at a time.
Awesome. That's another exciting. We're just so excited about everything.
Yeah. We're so excited people listen to us.
Right. So in closing, we would like to remind you that your body has a capacity to heal. If you want to optimize your health, feel less bloated, tired, and want support along the way, we can help you. So as I mentioned before, visit our websites.
We forgot to put it up. Oops.
You can schedule a free discovery call. I know with me, and I'm sure with Mary as well. So just to find out how nutritional therapy can help you. I wanted to say if it can help you, but I know it can help you. So nutritional therapy is for everybody, and it's beneficial for everyone. So I really appreciate you guys showing up and listening and taking the time to learn how to support your health a little bit better. So again, if you have any questions, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. And we'll touch back. We like to discuss things. So
we like to talk. What is our contact? Because I think I forgot to add the last slide with our information.
Okay. Well, mine is Nourish the Root Cause. You can reach me that way. Again, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can just direct message me or Mary.
Let me see if I could pull it up real quick. Maybe I'm that fast.
And Mary is I Deserve Health. Yeah,
so ideservehealth.com, or Mary, my email is mary@ideservehealth.com. I'm gonna try to pull up our contact.
You can also put our contact information in the comments.
We could do that, but not everyone's on the Zoom. I don't know where that slide is, but we'll just say it again.
Go ahead, Mary.
Wait, so yours is www.
Mine is nourishtherootcause.com.
.com.
And then my email is hello@nourishtherootcause. You can find me on Facebook as well. If you're in the Real Food Revolution group, again, just DM one of us.
Yes, and I am ideservehealth.com. Make sure you say it out loud so that you can remind yourself that. And also Mary, my email is mary@ideservehealth.com.
All right. Thank you, Mary, for this. And I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everyone else's time. And I look forward to next time.
Yes, thanks for watching. Let us know which digestive tip you plan on implementing, whether it's one or all or 100. Let us know. We're curious to know if this helped you at all. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.